That's right. Commanders, fans, fellow Commanderlorians, all rise because the dynamic duo has returned to bring you that Commanders truth, correction, and justice. It's God's favorite host, the host of the Moist here on the Flex Zone podcast. Only place Crevonte giving you sports how you want it.
When you need it.
And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring along the number one commander, the Commanderlorian himself, captain of the Goofy Ship, voice of reason, the co-founder of this here podcast. We still salute you, brother, even in the off season.
At ease, man.
Another season in the books. We got a nice little background for you. I hope you Commanders fans like it. How you feeling, brother? Before we get into the off-season checklist, because there are a lot of things going on with your team, as always. Very noteworthy, newsworthy team. How you feeling, brother? 2023, and just seems like same old Commanders each year, right?
With how 2022 ended, 2023 does give the feel of the same old Commanders, but there is light. I can see the horizon. I see the lights that will open the doors for our the next chapter, the next era in Washington as the Commanders look to new ownership. So I'm excited about that. There seemed to have been a dark cloud over our heads since about 9/9/2000, and it's time for us to get up out of it. So yeah, I am looking forward to that, but it's not going to happen overnight. I do know that, and I do understand that it's going to take all the changes, and all the changes going to take time, and I have to be patient because I asked for this. So what's up? This is what I'm asking for. So I have to be patient with my results.
Well, for those who may or may not know how this season went from your perspective, they finished the season 8-1. Before the season, we thought this team could win 10 games.
Yeah.
And considering all the goofiness that did transpire during the season, I'm sure you may get into some of it throughout this video, to still win 8 games with terrible quarterback play, inept coaching staff, goofy off-the-field shenanigans from your owner, not honoring your legends correctly. We could go on and be here all day. 8-1, literally one game out of the playoffs, really. I mean, how you feeling after the season?
Man, it was there. It was right there, Byron. So the beginning of the season, remember we were going over the over-unders for wins for teams. The over-under for this team was 8. It actually was 8. So whether you took the over or the under, you got your money back because it's a push. But 10 was well in their grasp after they benched Carson Wentz and brought Heineke in. Heineke uplifted, the team with a bunch of, a lot of his intangibles. And then before the Giants game, it was like, damn, we could catch 10 midway through December. But of course, as you can see, 8-1. That one was from the first game of the Giants, and then the second game we lost. So just for us tying the first game, that meant the second game felt like two losses. You know what I'm saying? So, but 10 was there. 10 was absolutely in our grasp. So we wasn't far off. And honestly, we were one of the better divisions as a whole in the entire NFL. Like nobody in our division had a losing record. So,
Well, the past is the past. We'll leave it there. I am going to bet the over on you guys this year.
No. I will reference it a lot. That's what I will do.
I'm just saying, if you're a future bettor, we talk about betting on this show. I want to do more betting as we go into 2023. I think it's some things, but I think you guys, your win total probably will be around 7 or 8. I might bet the over again. Call me bullish. But let's talk about your favorite owner. We talked about the season that was. He was a big part of the goofiness. There are rumblings, and we even heard from Ralph, shout out to Ralph, who was on the show Monday, from his people that he hears in the organization and people around the league, that this summer could lead to possible new ownership. I think even you mentioned on the show about Bezos trying to sell the Washington Post to get his ownership stake possibly together. How you feeling about this? You said there could be light at the end of the tunnel, and I think I know it starts with new ownership and starts at the top.
Absolutely. Everything, no matter what you do in this world, in this life, you want to see change, it usually starts from the top. Like I said, since 99, 2000, we have not been a great organization. I pulled up records as executive, and of the 20, I'd say 24 seasons, I guess, 24 seasons that we can say, we've only captured double-digit wins 3 times. Three times, and of course, the last one being about 10 years ago when we had RG3. Not good. 164 and 22. 164 and 220. That's wins, losses, and of course, we have two ties in there. It just hasn't been good. It just really hasn't been good, and there's something that I've seen a trend, and I'm sure you've seen it, and everybody else who knows anything about football or anything about this team have seen the trend. Some time ago, he said he would not change the name. A couple years ago, we see a name change. We formerly known as the Washington Redskins to the Washington Football Team. It's like, okay, cool. And he was adamant that he's been saying that for quite some time. And he probably could have held on to it if he wasn't being so goofy off the, out of the office and inside the office. He probably could have kept it, but, with reports like that and the climate in society right now with, being a misogynist, being a homophobic, being a racist, those are 3 things you do not want to be classified as. I don't care how much money you got, because those 3 things have such a negative connotation with it, and they are negative things, but it's even more when you're in the spotlight. So, to your question, yes, I am excited moving forward, because 2 main things he's always said: he's not gonna sell the team, and he's not gonna change the name, and both are going to be true very, very soon. So the fact that we have bidders just waiting is a great sign. So we can see what the team's going for. I'm hearing it could be around $7 billion. It could be around $7 billion. I'm hearing, I believe his name is Josh Harris, the owner of the Philadelphia 76ers, if I'm not mistaken, and he owns another team. But I believe his bid was like 6.5 bills, 6.3 or something like that.
Yeah,
so
he's the owner of the Sixers.
Yeah. So it's going to be between 6 and 7 bills. And this is without knowing what Bezos is going to, if he's really seriously going to jump into it. Because I'm, hearing that he's going to sell the Washington Post, and it's been reported. Well, not been reported. It's been rumored. I don't know if it's been reported, but it's been rumored that the Washington Post have leaked a lot of Daniel Snyder stuff. I think that has been reported. But Bezos being in charge of that, you can see the conflict of interest. But I'm hearing Bezos is actively trying to sell the Washington Post so he can put a bid in for the Commanders. And when he puts his bid in, he's gonna outbid somebody. So he might come out, hey, 7 bills, which I got. You know what I'm saying? But who knows? But the fact that I'm seeing this and it's actually happening is I feel really good about where it's gonna go, because I don't know any other way to describe it outside of it being a dark cloud. And a lot of it is due to his doing from the top, and we all know how it trickles down. Well, there you go. It trickles down. So yeah, I'm ecstatic. I was hoping they have the owners meeting in, I want to say March. I believe it's in March.
Yeah, I think all that's when the new league year starts, around March, I think.
Yeah, March. I think like March 15th or something like that. But the new year, of course, starts in March as well. It's not going to happen in time for the owners meeting, I believe, but the summertime it's looking very, very likely. And I also heard reports from was it JP Finley, if I'm not mistaken, saying that it may happen sooner rather than later, which is also a good sign. So I'm excited about that part. This one step at a time. It's going to be a slow roll. So but I'm ready for it to start.
Well, let's go to another quick hitter. Stadium. I think it was news today. I even seen on Google and then the news outlets about a possible stadium in Virginia. It looks like whoever the owner will be, there will be a new stadium. I don't know if that's going to be in DC, as we would like to see. Virginia, not Dumfries, but
That's what it's called.
New stadium has got to be on the list as well.
Yes. So I've heard reports that we should not rule out a return to RFK, which is in DC. That's where the glory days were. If we talk to the old heads who were huge fans of the Redskins, RFK was it, and it would be amazing to go back and actually be in DC and not in Landover. But I'm also hearing that if we do have the stadium go back to RFK, where FedEx Field is currently located, would probably turn into the training facility and the practice facility. So that's also good news, which just sounds great. Usually the practice facilities are usually somewhere nearby, and as opposed to and now I don't know what they would do with in Virginia. I don't know if they would still keep that or not, but I don't know. I think it has to be in a certain radius. So that's going to be interesting. But return to DC sounds amazing to me.
Well, let's get into the purpose of this video. We talked about the ownership. We'll keep our eyes on that checklist. You had a bunch of notes that you wanted to go over. I think we're starting with some of the coaching search, offensive coordinator. Are we starting with that?
Sure. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We sure can.
For those who don't know, new offensive coordinator search is underway. Much like a lot of teams, I think there are 10 openings for offensive coordinator. So how are you feeling about that? And it's like 10 offensive coordinator openings. How are you feeling about that? And anybody you want for that position?
Sure. So yes, offensive coordinator absolutely had to go. He was honestly, if we're talking about offensive coordinators, he was right under Greg Roman for me. He was right under Greg Roman. It's similar things to things that like Greg Roman didn't do well either. Like they're very similar. Really would like to run the ball. They really like running the ball and playing defense as a team. Like that's typically the motto, and it's just so old and stale. His play calling it wasn't anything pretty. It was quite regular, quite average, even high schoolish, depending on who you talk to. And he usually got away from what worked, and the players started voicing their opinions towards the end of the year. But again, you have to blame Ron Rivera for this one. Well, I blame Ron Rivera for most of it because I understand like you holding on to and sticking to what you know, but look around you, look around us. The league is moving. You ain't got a quarterback, you ain't got no chance. You know what I'm saying? It's that 3 yards in a cloud of dust. That era is over. It's you have to have a guy who can throw the ball across the yard, man. As we can see in the last 5 years, you don't got a quarterback, you don't got no chance. Even if you happen to make the playoffs, you can still get crushed in the playoffs if you don't got that guy. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you compete for championships. You know what I'm saying? You got to get certain positions right. That GM position, that head coaching position. quarterback, offensive tackle, edge rusher, corner. You got to get those guys right, or you'll always be looking for them. Like I say every year, half the league need a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? And a third of the league need head coaches. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't have that guy at quarterback, you'll literally always be looking for them, like I had for quite some time. We had one briefly in RG3, but wasn't quite the fit for long term, and it was unfortunate for the league and him. But so yes, offensive head coach, our former offensive head coach Scott Turner had to go, and Ron Rivera had to do it, which I am appreciative of, because I didn't think he was going to ever fire any of his boys. But cool. I have a couple guys that I was looking at. I don't think these first. I'm gonna go through the first three. I don't think this is going to happen. But if we're looking to be innovative and try something new and something different, these are three guys to look at. Phil Lingo. He is the offensive coordinator for the University of North Carolina. He was the offensive coordinator when Sam Howell was there. I'm not sure how serious, because the Commanders have already announced that Sam Howell is QB1. As of right now, moving forward and looking into the future, he's QB1 right now. So, I mean, what better person to cultivate his growth than his offensive coordinator in college? So that's one guy to look into. He also, and I would like to point out, not last year, but the year before that, they had two really good. I believe they had two running backs who rushed for 1,000 yards, and they both got drafted. And I believe he lost Donby Brown, Donby Brown, who's on the Commanders as well. He lost like all three of them in the same year. So last year he did struggle, because that's a lot of production, a lot of weapons that he lost. So he did not look as good 2 years ago as he did, this past year. Something to look into. Next guy, and also you notice I'm going to college first, which is also something I don't see Ron Rivera doing, but something to look into if you want to get innovative, you want to get new, fresh, something to look into. Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator for the two-time champion Georgia Bulldogs. Again, this team has offensively, now granted, we know how great the Georgia Bulldogs defense is. It's elite. It's as elite as you can get without being professionally elite. You know what I'm saying? They put several guys in the draft, and specifically the first round, coming from that defense. And offensively, it usually takes a back seat, but as they shown in the college playoffs, they could put up some points. They absolutely can put up some points, and they can hang with anybody, even the likes of the Ohio State. They could put up 40 when they need to. If defense may have an off night or whatever, they have the capability of putting up points, and that is due to Monken's tutelage and teachings. But why the hell would you leave Georgia for Washington? Like, being honest, why would you do that? Because at this point, he's probably looking for a head coaching job in the college ranks too, and back-to-back championships. He can have the pick of the litter. Whoever it has open, he could pick his spot, or he could stay and run it back again. Mm-hmm. He's in a good spot. I'm sure he wouldn't mess that up. Next, I have Brian Hartland. Brian Hartland is a former NFL quarterback. Former NFL wide receiver, and he is the wide receiver. He's the wide receiver coach and offensive coordinator probably a passing game coordinator too for the Ohio State Buckeyes. And he's pretty much all of his coaching has been at the Ohio State. He got drafted. He was drafted by the Miami Dolphins. He was there from 2009 to 2014, and then he was with the Cleveland Browns for 1 year, and that was 2015. He started coaching at the Ohio State in 2017 and has been coaching there ever since. He's had a various number of positions: offensive quality control assistant, wide receivers coach, passing game coordinator, wide receivers, and offensive coordinator, wide receiver coach. So, and that is 2023, pretty much present. He's the offensive coordinator and wide receivers coach. Listen, Byron, we know they churn out them wide receivers at the Ohio State. We got one of them. His name is Terry McLaurin. And also, for those that I forgot, Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel as well. We got guys like, Garrett Wilson as of late, Chris Olave. Listen, he has a lot of guys who he's thrusted into the NFL, and he can say they came from him, because he's not just the offensive guy; he's specifically the wide receivers coach. And as I was saying, he just pretty much got promoted from the passing game coordinator to offensive coordinator moving forward. So again, why would you leave? But again, in an effort to be innovative and new and try to get with the times, these are a couple guys we're looking at from the college ranks. Now I'm going to go to, I have a couple more guys that I'm looking at who's actually in the league right now. Deuce Staley. Deuce Staley doing a goddamn thing.
You know him very well.
Yes. Obviously, NFL running back.
He might get a head coaching job, hopefully.
Right. He might bypass all this. You know what I'm saying? And so he's naturally he played for I remember his days with the Philadelphia Eagles, but he also played for the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. And as a coach, got on with the Eagles, special team quality control coach, running backs, assistant head coach. And he's now with the Detroit Lions as an assistant head coach and running backs coach. Williams, their running back for the Detroit Lions, just broke Barry Sanders' record for most touchdowns in the season with 17. And we just see we can see the change in the running back position from Detroit. Williams is good, man. He's really, really, really good, and he's doing nothing but learning from Mr. Deuce Staley, from Coach Deuce Staley. And it's like he coached to be on Dan Campbell's coaching staff. You know, that he's right up Dan Campbell's alley as far as the fire that he brings with him as being a coach. And he's a running backs coach. Talking about he potentially could get a head coaching job. You know what I'm saying? But for sure, in the meantime, he could come be our offensive coordinator. would not mind it. Absolutely would not mind it at all. And then also, he's a running back guy, so he probably is going to be more geared to running the football, which I'm sure Ron Rivera would like. There's a guy next. So next guy up is, who do I have? So I have two guys left. I don't want to butcher his last name. Ken Zampese. He's actually on the Commanders roster as the quarterbacks coach. I think when in doubt, if we cannot find anybody outside the organization, because Ron Rivera did state, and the Commanders did state, that they want to go outside of the organization to bring in their next offensive coordinator. But if we find it hard to get people to come here, when in doubt, we'll probably promote Ken Zampese, who is a quarterback's coach, to offensive coordinator. That would probably be the easiest and less headache way of doing things. And also, this is a lame duck year. And you know, I didn't think about this till recently. Nobody's promised a job next year. Because with new ownership usually comes a new staff. So it's not much job security coming here as well, which is why all the three guys I named in the college ranks probably wouldn't even dare come here knowing the situation that we're in. So I think Ken Zampese will probably win in doubt if nobody breaks through on the coaching search. It will probably be him being promoted. Last one. I just saw this today. Anthony Lynn.
I was going to ask you about that when you got done. I saw it a few minutes before we got on here.
Yep. So we know Anthony Lynn. He
Speaking
was
of lame duck.
Right. So he knows a thing or two about that. He was the head coach for the San Diego / LA Chargers. Was he in both at the time? I don't know if he was in that transition, but before he was head coach for the Chargers, and he was criticized for situational football, usually in-game situational things, time management, clock management. So those are some things that we can point to some games where he struggled in as a head coach. But listen, as an offensive coordinator, you ain't got to worry about all of that. You should worry about the offense. And also, similar to Deuce Staley, he has a running back background. So, he'll 9 times out of 10, he'll lean on running the football as well. But on top of that, we have a young quarterback. So we need to seriously consider running the football along with developing him. Not just running the football, but bringing him along as well. So yeah, those are a couple of guys that I was looking into for offensive coordinator. Some long shots, and there are some that's a little bit more in our grasp. I heard that we interviewed Pat Shurmur as well. Again, I'm telling you right now, Byron, I don't think I'm going to like who they pick.
I wouldn't mind Anthony Lynn, but yeah.
Because of the situation we're in, I understand we're probably not going to get anybody prominent in this role because there's no job security here. Everybody knows Daniel Snyder is out. The team is going to sell relatively soon. So next year, meaning 2024, nothing's promised. No matter how good, or especially if you do bad, but no matter how good, nothing's promised because typically when new management comes in, new management comes in. I don't even know if they're going to care for Ron Rivera. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's safe. So we would really have to get somebody who's really desperate to prove themselves as offensive coordinator to get back in. And I don't think any of these guys are desperate, honestly. So I'm going to say I'm not going to like the choice we make. But again, Ken Zampese will probably be the easy choice because he's already on the roster. But it's just that they already said that they wanted to go outside. So, if Ken Zampese gets promoted, that means nobody wanted to come.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Is Jack Del Rio back? Real quick. Is he back?
So on my slide, the little things I was checking off, I said new DC and I said maybe because he's still there.
Right.
He has not parted ways. I mean, the Commanders have not parted ways with Jack Del Rio. So for now, he's still there. I didn't like how the offseason was going last year with those comments that he had about January 6th. I thought that was terrible timing. And I felt like it was going to affect the team at some point, affect the team in a negative way. We had some key injuries. Chase Young did not come in until like week 15. Mathis, from Alabama. I can't remember his first name.
Phaedrian Mathis.
Yeah, he got hurt really early, and he was going to have his little bit of time. You could see the type of impact that he had. Similar to Deron Payne, who had a standout year. I don't hesitate in saying that he was our best defensive player this year, and for the whole year. We had a lot of guys who did some good things, but Deron Payne was by far the most consistent defensive player we had. And I think he had a career high 11.5 sacks. So Jack Del Rio did defensively. There were certain spots, but overall, we didn't look bad. Once Heineke and all them came in, like we played pretty well. We were top 10 for a nice portion of the year. So if Jack Del Rio stays, I understand.
Right.
But again, I think everybody need to go. If I'm being honest, John Rivera goes naturally, Jack Del Rio would go. But yeah, I think head coach, I would like a different head coach, offensive coordinator, and defensive coordinator. But I'm gonna work with what I got.
Speaking of working with you got, draft. I saw your list of needs, and you can go down that list. No quarterback on there. Do you think that they'll take a quarterback in the first round, or maybe at some point in the draft, or do they go the free agency route? And which way would you like to see?
So I did not put quarterback on the draft list because we have and I hate this. I was talking to one of my Commander friends, and she was saying, I feel like we're gonna be in the middle of the pack again for the draft, which is like kind of no man's land. Especially if you're looking for a quarterback that can change your franchise. So, I'm cool with figuring out if Sam Howell's the guy moving forward. We're not really paying anybody especially at the quarterback position, so we have nobody taking up 30% of our cap. So that leaves room to re-sign guys like Deron Payne and all that. So I'm cool with moving forward with Sam Howell as the quarterback, and Heineke will probably be the backup, and Carson Wentz the door can hit him where the good Lord split him. But free agency, interesting. Nobody's really talking about it, but listen, at the right price, I wouldn't mind Derek Carr. I would not mind Derek Carr being our quarterback, in DC. He's been really good in some spots, and I can't unsee what he did last year in all the turmoil that Vegas was going through, and still somehow made it to the playoffs. Like, that's the guy I remember. Now, granted, this year, it wasn't all good. As a matter of fact, it was bad more often than not. The offense seemed to have had, and I'm talking about the Vegas Raiders. The offense seemed to have had a fast start, but it seemed like halfway through they ran out of gas and let the team come back, let the opposing team come back, and then they end up losing. But I will say the Vegas Raiders had a bottom 10 defense overall, so he literally got no help from the other side of the football. If he comes with us, I think he'll get the necessary help he needs. Derek Carr, he's not going to cost a crazy amount. So even if we were to sign him, I don't think it would kill our cap, and we can still re-sign some players. So yeah, as far as free agency is concerned, I like Derek. If it ain't Derek Carr, like, we just move forward with Sam Howell. So yeah, as far as free agency is concerned, draft, offensive line, It's really hard. Listen, good people, don't let Joe Burrow fool you. The offensive line needs to be better. Somehow Joe Burrow finds a way to do it and keep winning, but it's just him. Anybody else has a terrible offensive line, they have a terrible team. 9 times out of 10, your offensive line bad, your team is bad because they can't protect the franchise, which is the quarterback, or a mixture of can't protect the quarterback, can't run the football effectively. So I am a believer of your offensive line needs to be your best unit. Those 5 guys need to be in sync, know each other, understand each other, and be in sync with one another in order for your team to thrive. So yeah, I'm gonna go offensive line with that. Linebacker. I'm finding it weird to figure out, like, a lot of times we only have 2 linebackers on the field. And we were playing, I guess that means we're playing a lot of nickel just because the NFL is speeding up. These wide receivers have top tier speed, and we need linebackers that can run. We don't have many of them. So linebacker is definitely a draft need. Inside, outside, I don't care. Well, it's only 2 of them, so I don't know which one's inside or outside. But we need another top tier sideline to sideline linebacker on our defense, because honestly, I think the linebacker core was the weak link in our defense because our defensive line was the best. And when our secondary was pretty damn good. Benjamin St. Juice, he got hurt. Gosh, what week was that? He probably missed about the last 5 or 6 games or whatever. His development looked really, really good. Cam Curl got hurt at safety. Derek Force came in looking really good. And of course, old reliable Kendall Fuller, he's still there. So our secondary was pretty solid when healthy. I really like when St. Juice comes back. They call him the Juice. When I like his development really, really well. And so yeah, I think our secondary is solid. But linebacker core was weak. So I think we should look into that. I put, who's next? I think wide receiver is good. We could all use another fast, speedy guy, but we don't need. I had safety. I have safety on here. And I honestly think that's probably because of the injury factor. We had some good, solid young guys that if they develop, I think will be pretty good. But if we come across a top flight one, I say we take them. You can never have enough DBs on the field to cover all these top tier wide receivers running around. I think that's pretty much it. Tight end gets overlooked, but I think the injury bug hit us as well. I think we have some guys on the roster that, if they can stay healthy, they will be productive. So that's really my draft needs. Biggest things, O-line. Get the O-line together, no matter what, because I don't care who back there, quarterback. The offensive line is in flux and been shuffling around. That's inconsistent. That's inconsistency that we can't get rid of, which is going to make the quarterback inconsistent and the play calling inconsistent, and all of that.
Well, brother, that looks like that covers most of our checklist. Is that everything on your list? Did you check it twice?
I checked it. Yes, I checked it twice. Got the ownership, new coach. Okay, so I really didn't go over new coach because they don't look like Ron Rivera's going anywhere. So I left that one alone. I left that one alone. I have to work with what I have, and so coach and defensive coordinator, I left off because they look like they will be stuck here at least another year. We talked about new stadium location, of course, ownership, drafts, and my offensive coordinator potential candidates. A couple once, but you know, I don't honestly think they would any of these guys outside of Ken Zampese because he's already on the roster. But yeah, it looks like we're good.
Let's get Anthony Lynn in there since it's a lame duck year.
Anthony Lynn would be amazing.
I guess that'll be the next piece of news coming out of the DC Landover Dumfries area.
I tell you, man, whoever come in here, that Dumfries mess should go away because that's Daniel Snyder's doing, and we don't want nothing, no stench of him around here.
Yeah, we'll break that news when we get the information. I'm sure Crevonte will be on top of it, or myself. We'll try to have a video for you guys.
For sure.
Yeah, and we'll definitely be on top of the ownership situation and selling and stadium as that develops into the never-ending offseason of the NFL, because there's no offseason. Crevonte,
it's not a real offseason.
Let the people know how to keep up with you and anything else they need to know about the Flex Zone, how they should keep up with us, and all that good stuff.
Well, shoot, with us, man, you already know it's at the Flex Zone 1, Instagram, Twitter, the Flex Zone on Facebook, and of course the Flex Zone podcast on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, because there's a ton of content between Byron and Roger. Y'all really churning it out, man. Every time I get a notification, and at the very least, if I can't watch right now, I'm gonna like it. You know, one time I even got an opportunity to hop in on the AEW live stream, which is pretty cool. Got to meet some new people, some other supporters of the channel, other content creators. So, you know, we're just continuing to grow. And me, you know, you'll find me at the Flex Zone. But Crevonte Hurd, everywhere, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the same. Voice of Reason on here. And yeah, I'll be back with some Commanders news with my guy Byron.
Captain of the Goofy Ship, the Commanderlorian himself. Only place giving you sports how you want it.
When you need it.
For Crevonte, myself, BKD. He is the same producer, Voice of Reason. Check us out Mondays, 10 p.m. Let us know, Commanders fans, in the comments your thoughts. Who you like to see offensive coordinator. Anything you'd like to see the team do. Free agency, draft, trades, free agent quarterbacks. Let us know in the comments down below. We will see you with more Commanders news as we salute you before we get out of here. Peace.
Indeed, man. Oh yeah, Goofies of the Week, guys. Check that out. I'm looking for assistance. If you guys have any Goofies that you think should make the show, please send them to our email. Send to any one of our Instagrams. However, y'all can reach us.
And if you want to see any type of Commanders videos, let us know. We'll get to work on them for the nation of domination in DC. Peace. For Crevonte, we signing off, y'all. Salute. Peace.